Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today we have a short update regarding the Microsoft acquisition of Activision. The most recent update before this, of course, was the United Kingdom's CMA coming out saying that basically it was going to be a good idea. They thought there was going to be a lot more competition within the games industry should Microsoft take over Activision, much to the disdain of Sony. And then today, Activision's CEO Bobby Kotick, yeah, that one, Bobby Kotick, sent out an internal email to people working at Activision about the Microsoft deal. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at that here because it kind of has him throwing some shade at Sony and basically just reinforces the idea that the acquisition should be going through. So our proposed merger will help us compete with the increasingly competitive marketplace that includes rapidly growing foreign powerful companies that enjoy protection in their home markets and access to strong talent pools. The partnership with Microsoft will enable us to more effectively compete against these market-leading competitors. If you guys recall, in the United Kingdom, I believe the share of like the console market within the United Kingdom is like 70-30, 70% Sony, 30% Microsoft. And of course, Sony's like, oh yeah, we're not doing as good as you think. They're really kind of killing it, which is why the CMA decided to side with Microsoft on this. But continuing, the good news is regulators who initially had concerns about console competition are starting to better understand our industry. Pause right there. I think that's a massive issue when it comes to most of this kind of stuff, right? I mean, look at like the things going on with TikTok right now and like the regulatory commissions looking at that. There's so many memes about these old people that came to work a cell phone trying to regulate whether or not like a video sharing app like TikTok should be allowed in the United States. Obviously, there's a lot of politics behind the Chinese aspect of it, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like old people who don't understand technology or even the world around them making our laws and regulations is kind of ridiculous. So Bobby's talking about that here. Some of the regulators who initially had concerns about console competition are starting to better understand our industry. The data and evidence Microsoft has been presenting are tilting the scale. You may have seen statements from Sony, including an argument that if the deal goes through, Microsoft could release deliberately buggy versions of our games on PlayStation. We all know our passionate players would be the first to hold Microsoft accountable for keeping its promises of content and quality parity. Yeah, we're doing a great job of that with COD right now. You got all of us like, trying to hold them accountable is really working, but continuing. And all of us who work so hard to deliver the best games in our industry care too deeply about our players to ever launch subpar versions of our games. Hold on, just one more time here. All of us who work so hard to deliver the best games in our industry care too deeply about our players to ever launch subpar versions of our games. Whether we're talking about launching a full-fledged Call of Duty title with 9 maps, or we're talking about the Black Ops 3 last-gen console ports, yeah, they've done this time and time again. That's a bunch of bullshit right here. And like, are they drinking their own Kool-Aid over there at Activision? Like, do they fully believe they're not launching subpar games, like subpar versions of the games they release? Like, But continuing back on here, Sony has even admitted that they aren't actually concerned about a Call of Duty agreement. They would just like to prevent our merger from happening. I mean, obviously that makes sense from a business perspective. I mean, they're going to lose a big chunk of the market share for sure. They're actually going to have to try. They're not going to just be able to like, blow all their money on Call of Duty exclusivity deals and call it good. They're going to have to actually like put out a competing service to the Xbox Game Pass. They're going to have to like increase their cloud gaming capabilities. They're going to have to actually like work with other studios to put out good games that are fair to the consumer. Like, wow, I mean, that sounds terrible, but yeah, that's what Sony's definitely the most concerned about right now. This is obviously disappointing behavior going on from Bobby Kotick here, from a partner for almost 30 years, but we will not allow Sony's behavior to affect our long-term relationship. So they're not too happy with Sony right now, but they're basically saying, if the money's there, we don't care. Continuing on, PlayStation players know that we will continue to deliver the best games possible on Sony platforms as we have since the launch of PlayStation. That's definitely debatable, but let's just continue because I feel like I keep interrupting old Bobby here, but then again, I don't think you guys tend to mind. We will continue to have discussions with European and United Kingdom regulators until the decision dates, which we expect in the coming months. You may have also seen today that the Japanese Fair Trade Commission found that the deal wouldn't harm competition and unconditionally cleared our transaction. Again, once the CMA pretty much approved and gave their blessing for this merger here, all the other regulatory commissions are probably going to follow suit. Like, it's kind of like a domino effect. Like, if one of them decides it's okay, I feel like the rest of them are going to start deciding it's okay. And mind you, I didn't know shit about this like 6 months ago. This is all just like research I've been doing ever since this acquisition was first announced. So I'm doing my best to cover this. I really am. We will update you again when we have more information to share. Our team is working collaboratively with Microsoft to make sure that we have answers to the many questions you have about the progress of the merger. We will continue to be helpful, supportive, and transparent as we progress through the regulatory process. Thank you for staying focused on ensuring our players continue to have the very best games and on maintaining the best workplace for our colleagues. With appreciation, Bobby. So that final little bit there, ensuring our players continue to have the very best games. What am I missing? Like, what game they're talking about? Like, I have no idea. But in that long-winded email, which to be fair, it was actually a relatively short email. I just kept having to jump in every now and then. But the long and the short of it is Japan essentially is okay with the acquisition. The United Kingdom is okay with the acquisition. They still have hurdles to go through and jump through when it comes to the United States FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. But it seems like things are going pretty well here. It's still going to take a couple of months because everything involving this has to take forever. But it seems like things are going well. It also seems like Activision is pretty upset with Sony right now, especially considering they've been taking Sony's money for so long to get those exclusivity deals, and people are always going to argue, of course, that Xbox had it first, but man, it's been like 10 years almost at this point, man. Like, exclusivity needs to go. It's a cancer on the games industry, and one of the things Microsoft is saying to fans, which I think right now they'll say anything, don't trust these giant corporations, but based on what they've said so far, they're getting rid of exclusivity. Like, as soon as Microsoft takes over, they say they're going to continue and honor the contract that Sony currently has with Activision, but once that goes away, you know, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch Plus, or wherever the hell is going to be coming out, because apparently they signed that deal with Nintendo, stuff with Nvidia, like, it's all going to have same day content and feature parity. Now, obviously, Sony, in an effort to try to confuse all the old people who are on these regulatory boards that have no idea what they're even, never even played a video game in their lives probably, what Sony is saying is like, oh man, like, if Microsoft has it, then, you know, they're going to release Black Ops 5, but it's going to be really good on Xbox, and then the PlayStation version is going to look like the Black Ops 3 last gen ports or something like that. Like, they're trying to say stuff like that, which it just wouldn't happen. The reason why this stuff is actually being approved by Japan and the United Kingdom is because it would not be in Microsoft's best interest to ever make Call of Duty a Microsoft exclusive game. That's why they're already offering out these 10-year contracts to like everyone that will take them, because they're like, look, we need these games to be on as many platforms as possible. They're going to be adding in, I forget the number, like 150 million new possible like players just based on all the extra platforms that they're going to be expanding COD to. Again, they're doing stuff with Nvidia, doing stuff with Nintendo. Like, the idea here is to help COD grow, which is something that Activision themselves have not been trying to do for the past at least 5 years. It seems like they are just coasting right now. We talked about that in the video I posted earlier today. So it seems like Microsoft wants Call of Duty because, okay, and to say like they have COD's player base's best interest in mind is a bit warped. I mean, I don't think they have like our best interest in mind. I think what Microsoft is thinking, and this makes total sense, is they want COD because COD is this almost evergreen franchise that's been going on forever, and it's had peaks and valleys throughout its entire lifespan going back to 2003. But I think they see a situation where Call of Duty is in a place where it can blow up again. It can be the next big thing, despite the fact that it's a pretty old franchise at this point. I think they think that they can make a ton of money off COD, that COD can be more, to quote Mufasa, than what it has become. Right? And I'm hoping that's their idea, because regardless, I mean, obviously they're in this to make money. They're going to make tons of money if they make the game better. If COD like actually like, you know, starts being a better game in general, if COD actually starts making some positive changes fueled by the feedback from the community, and the devs start working with the community to make COD what it could be, then I am all for that, man. I am absolutely all for that, because at the end of the day, I'm just this dude that's been playing COD for like 15 years and making videos for like, what, 12 years now? Like, I want this franchise to thrive again. Like, if COD's thriving, I'm thriving. And let's just say COD's down bad. So therefore, where's that make me? I'm happy my channel is starting to rebound after the hijacking last month, but man, like, I want COD to be good again. I really do. And Microsoft appears to kind of want to do that. Obviously, they have a profit motive, but it seems like they want to do that. And it seems like almost every day we're getting more and more news and more commissions coming out and saying, you know what, this is a pretty good idea. And at the risk of sounding like one of those like elitists or whatever, like Sony's mad right now. And again, I don't give a shit. I play on PC, but Sony's upset, and rightly so, because they're about to lose a big chunk of the market share, and it's got to shake things up at Sony. Like, if this goes through, not only will hopefully COD get better, but hopefully Sony as a whole gets better. And if Sony as a whole gets better, that's going to force Microsoft to continue to get better, and Nintendo to get better, and all ships are supposed to rise in this situation. So hopefully that is the case. We're going to have to wait and see how things are going to play out. And as always, like I said, though, I will cover this news story as more updates and more developments happen. But for right now, that's all for this video here today. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.